All right, this one. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all my thoughts on the 4B movement thing. First of all, the 4B movement, which was started in 2019 by women in South Korea, they don't want anything at all. It doesn't matter if the men are good, bad, horrible, whatever. They are restricting sexual access. They're not marrying, not going on dates with men, period. Because what their movement is based in is a rejection of quote unquote conservative values over there. Now I'm gonna just say this. The 4B movement is not gonna work in the United States of America. It's not. And the reason it's not going to work in the United States of America, for one, is you will always have small sections of pick-meshas that will still give Pookies and Ray Rays access to the draws. I mean, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. It's not gonna work. As long as you have a small cauldron of women giving up the draws to the Pookies, the Ray Rays, whatever the case may be, the 4B movement is dead. You understand me? It is dead on arrival in the West. Now, what I have always told women is that women really have, the 4B movement actually does demonstrate how powerful women really are. What I mean by that is this. I have always told women in my content, ladies, imagine what would happen if every woman in the United States said to even get close to me, to even gain sexual access to me, to even have that as a possibility. You have to demonstrate to me that you have a high income skill or that you're working to obtain a high income skill. You have a certificate, college education, some sort of business, something that shows stability in mental state, income, and have good moral character. And if they display that, and also they have to display a willingness to exclusively deal with you. They don't, because monogamy is going to be more successful than polygamy, and that's my opinion. Y'all can disagree with me all you want. I don't really give a shit. The fact of the matter is, we don't have men actually acting as if they care about women, and a small percentage of women act like men are just an economic resource. We need each other if the human race is going to survive. It is a stupid ideology. Yes, I said it. It is a stupid ideology to think that you can have a world without men. It is a stupid ideology to think you can have a world without women. That is the dumbest
Show me
thing.
what the earth would look like without men day one. All right, day one, nothing has changed yet. Show me what the earth would look like without men day 10. So a society without men becomes a society of vegetarians according to ChatGPT. Show me what the earth would look like without men day 100. My question is, how the f do they even reproduce? Would you live in this society with the first person that comes up when you press share and more? Show me what the earth would look like without men 1 year. Are they gonna start making the cars and houses out of fruits and plants now? What's their deal with meat? Show me what the earth would look like without men 10 years. Okay, I know I low-key been a D1 hater so far, but this actually looks peaceful. Show me what the earth would look like without men 100 years. And I was correct. It seems the women ditched all industrialism and opted for a life in nature. Show me what the earth would look like without men 1,000 years. There's no way women did all of this. There had to have been some alien intervention along the way. Show me what the earth would look like without men 1 million years. This looks like some planet in Star Wars. I wonder if Earth would look like this if it was instead only men on the planet.
It is a stupid ideology to think you can have a world without women. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. We need each other for the propagation, if nothing else, for the continuation of the human race, at the minimum. So the 4B movement in South Korea, however, is rooted in simply saying we don't need men, period, which is just, it's insane to me. The 4B movement is not going to work in the West, but it does show how powerful women actually are. You dig?
Hey ladies, welcome back to Somebody Come Listen to This podcast. I am your host, Nava. If you're new here, welcome, and please hit that subscribe button. Okay, let's just jump right into it, ladies. So a lot of y'all have already heard about the 4B movement and about the Western 4B movement. If you have not, go over to TikTok real quick and just type in Western 4B movement, because that's what this video is mainly about, or type in 4B movement and you'll learn more about the original movement, which started in Korea. So let's talk about what he's saying right here. Although I would hate to agree with him, I do have to agree with him on some points that he made about black women, because I'm a black woman. I've grown up around black women and I know black women. a lot of women, like he said, are still going to be sleeping with men. And I'm fine with that because a lot of women need to be left behind and they need somebody to entertain them. They'll have each other and they'll have these women that he's talking about. But I'm seeing a lot of women that are actually saying they support the movement and that they are in the movement, but they're still going up on panels talking to them. They're still letting them up on their panels to talk over them and disrespect them and gaslight them. That's not how any of this goes. Like, if you're trying to emulate the 4B movement in Korea, which, by the way, it's not all of the women over there. It's small pockets of women, which I'm sure is going to grow, especially now that American women are talking about doing it too. American women, this is going to grow worldwide. I don't know how fast it's going to grow, but it is already growing. And it's not just black women. Black men, for some reason, think it's just black women. It's not. It's women of all races. When you go on TikTok, you'll see it. When you go on YouTube, it's women of all races, creeds, nationalities, talking about how tired they are of the men of the patriarchy. Patriarchy is worldwide. And it's not just black men or white men in America that are acting in a way that's forcing women to say, okay, we're done. But as far as black women go, y'all know black women, we're really not quitters, especially when it comes to men and relationships. I've seen so many black women in my real life and online just go through years and years and years and years and years of abuse by the men that look like them. We usually, from what I've seen, black women usually give up on men when they're in their late 40s, early 50s. That's when they quit. But they spend their whole entire lives trying to find them a good man and work out these relationships. So I don't want to talk too much. I'm going to show what some of the ladies have to say. I'm sure some of you have seen most of the ladies giving their thoughts and opinions on it. So we're going to just jump into what a lot of the ladies had to say.
4B movement, is that not of the devil? Like, it's literally evil. These women are talking about how they're not going to date men, sleep with men, procreate with men, and all these other things, right? And it's like, wow, like, what are you going to do? Feminism is going to lead these women into dating each other. This is not going to benefit you in any way. This just screams you hate men. Like, imagine if men got on this app and said, oh, yeah, we're going to participate in the 4Bs, and we're not going to sleep with women. We're not going to talk to women or date women. You know, we would get shamed for that. Actually, you know what it sounds like? It sounds weird. Like, this literally goes against human nature. You're not going to sleep with men and procreate with men and marry men.
Welcome to the Find Out portion of Fucking Around, where women literally don't care if we go extinct. Like, literally, women all over the world have decided that if the choice is to be married to a man who treats us like nothing, who gives us no incentive or benefits to being in that relationship, or the population dying off, we will let it die off. Don't worry, it won't, because there are plenty of women who will still sleep with you. But those aren't the women you're going to want. No, you're going to want the women who don't want you. Otherwise, this wouldn't bother you so much. Because it's not actually about wanting what's best for humanity. It's about you wanting to control the women you can't. Also, I think it's cute that you think if you came out and said you weren't going to sleep with women anymore, we'd actually care. Most of us just want you to leave us alone. Also, marriage isn't natural. It's a contract. It's about ownership of property, women, and study after study have shown that men who are married are happier and live longer, but women who are married are less happy and don't live as long. Oh, and sweetheart, it's not about misandry. It's not about us hating men. It's about us expecting men to evolve and be better, and you choosing not to. So if you don't like this, if you don't like the fact that women have said, you know what, we're done, we're peacing out, let it die off, you have no one to blame but yourselves.
This video is going to be in reference to the 4B movement and why I support women who want to dismantle the patriarchy by no longer supporting men in the United States. This video is specifically in reference to Black women in this country, because Black women have been the only group of women who has always been told that they are the bottom of the totem pole. They've been treated as such as well. And unfortunately, this rhetoric has been more widely spread by Black women's natural counterparts. Black women cannot deny that they have had to encounter racism, sexism, discrimination, and prejudice in this country, not only from other groups of people, but quite enough from their own group. She has to withstand being told she's undesirable, unattractive, ghetto, loud, too dark, that her hair is too nappy or unkempt, that her accomplishments do not matter, that she must settle for less, but that she must work the most and the hardest while settling for less, and while taking on the weight of the world. Black women have been instrumental in taking on all of the invisible labor in this country for centuries, and through generations have had the least to show for it. Black women are tired and we want peace. We will love ourselves and put all our broken pieces back together. And many feel that one way to do that is to keep males from riding our backs and expecting us to fulfill their needs. To remove the burdens of motherhood and wifely duties and take away the pressures of dating and conforming to exhausting beauty standards. And before I'm scrutinized for my support, yes, I know. It's not all men who are incessantly blaming and judging and ridiculing and using and abusing and unaliving and abandoning and neglecting Black women. But God, by God, it's enough. It's definitely enough. It's too many. People getting triggered or upset about women who finally want the space to take care of themselves and each other are the real problem to me. Because why would you be angry about me focusing on myself and what I want out of life? Like, why would my personal life choices offend you? Why do you not want to see me happy, to see me flourish, to see me thriving, to see me free? Like, the 4B movement is obviously not for every woman. But for the women that want to have more bodily autonomy, and they seek a life that allows them to live outside of patriarchal or societal standards, why wouldn't that be supported? Just my thoughts. Thank you.
Honestly, I feel like these days having a crush on a man is a fucking illness. It is an illness. If one of my friends tells me that they have a new crush on a guy, I'm like, get well soon. I like, my thoughts and my prayers are with you, and I respect your privacy during this difficult time, but get well soon.
The funniest thing about the 4B movement is it always comes from women that look more masculine than the men that they're talking about. And you know the exact women I'm talking about that have like the septum piercings, the different color hair.
And the funniest thing about watching a sad, bitter pick-me talk about a movement that she has no idea what it's actually about, on top of the fact that you too have different colored hair. I see your roots, sis. Now, I'm not part of the 4B movement myself because I have an amazing man that I chose. However, if I ended up being single, or if I was single, there's a high probability I would be part of the 4B movement, 100%. But the insignificant teeny brain is not allowing you to understand the reason why the 4B movement was created. The 4B movement was created in response to wanting to distance themselves from toxic and violent men.
That literally are so far in their masculine role that the men weren't even looking in their direction in the first place.
Are you joking? These men flock to hot, strong, independent women. They flock to them because their whole goal is to get them and then break them down and turn them into a pick-me. They don't want someone like this to begin with. They never do. I mean, what kind of adult content do you think these men are looking at? They're obviously not looking at plain Janes.
And it's just another way that these women are trying to one-up men, but
women wanting to remove themselves from toxic, abusive, and violent men is not their way to one-up them. It's their way to save themselves and protect themselves. All you need to do is think. I know it might be hard.
Women are literally driving the human race towards extinction at the moment in the biggest case of fuck around and find out the world has ever seen, by refusing to have kids because they don't like the way men treat women and they don't like the way that society treats mothers. And so they're like, you know what, instead of having kids and continuing the human race, let's just go extinct. Like, let's just all go extinct. And this isn't only happening in South Korea. I don't know if you saw that report a few weeks ago that said that for the 4th year in a row, the birth rate there was dangerously low compared to the death rate. And if that continues, you end up with loads of old people and not enough young people to support them and support the economy. And then you have fewer women in each generation and fewer of them are having kids, and then eventually you go extinct. And when they're asking women in South Korea, why are you doing this? In part they're saying they don't like men. They don't like the way that men treat them. And they're like, why would I have a kid with this idiot? Like, why would I breed from this idiot? Why would I pass this idiot's DNA on? I don't care if you say that we're going to go extinct. Like, I don't care if my uterus is all that stands between, like, us and extinction. I'm not doing it. It's not worth it for me. So I'm not going to do it. And this is happening everywhere. Like, they reckon that by the year 2050, 75% of nations will be in the same situation. And by 2100, the year 2100, it'll be 97% of nations. Because women are refusing to have kids because we're sick of this crap. Like, in my country at the moment, in Britain, the average birth rate is 1.5 children per woman. And it needs to be 2.1. And it's set to plummet to 1.3. And the same thing is going to happen in the US. Because women just don't want to have any kids. And I can see why. It's because forever we have been told that all we're good for is having children, but also that that's not really that important because it still doesn't make us the default gender. It still doesn't make us the important gender. It's men who get to earn all the money and have all the fun. They're the ones who get to keep all of their leisure time. They're the ones who get to own most of the world's land and speak most of the world's words. Because we're just women and mothers, and that's not that important. And so why would we do it? Like, why would we do it? What's the incentive here? Because women actually know that having children takes a massive toll on our physical health and our mental health, and that we're then expected to live our lives in servitude to these children, to these future worker bees, so that they can take care of the aging population. And our entire lives will be changed by having a child. But we're also constantly told that that's not that important, but that's all we are, but that's not important. And so we're looking at the situation and we're like, why would I do this? I'd rather put a backpack on and go traveling. I don't care if we go extinct. Like why would I do this? Where's the incentive? There isn't one. We're not even appreciated for doing it. Like, we're actually, like, brought down for doing it. Why would we do it? Why not instead just go out there and explore this world and live our lives? And that's what more and more women are doing. They're making the decision to do that instead. So here's the thing. If you don't want to go extinct, you better beg us to start having kids, and you better make it worth our while. Like, that's the only solution here. That's the only way that we get out of this mess. Women need to be recognised for their importance, not just in terms of having children, but everything glorious that they bring to this world. Because we've been told for all this time that, like, it's not us, it's not you, you're not the important ones. Like, you guys aren't the key workers here. And now actually we're seeing that we are the key workers, and actually we are vitally important for the continuation of the human race. And before anybody jumps up in here and is like, well, then you guys are selfish. Why don't you just take one for the team and sacrifice your physical and mental health to have children? Like, what, they just do that. The human race depends on it. This isn't our fault. It's yours. It's society's fault, and society has been run by men for all these years, and you have left us feeling underappreciated and unvalued for everything that we have to offer, including having children and raising them and raising the next generation. And we just don't want to do it anymore. And we're not gonna.
That is the lack of provision and protection. So we'll see who tires out faster. Will it be the women because they won't receive
Protection from who? Protection from who? That's what I fucking want you to answer. Because the only answer you can give is protection from men. So you are threatening to withhold what minimum protections men have offered from other men? Wow. My God. People should really think this whole movement thing. And women love to go to work, and we love to pay for our own shit. And honestly, do you know how happy women are going to be when they aren't popping out your fucking children to take care of anymore? Like, bro. And if we do decide to have children, because we can do that without your asses, the community we will build to aid each other, enjoy.
Okay, so my little 2 cents about the 4B movement. I don't understand what the issue is. If I'm being completely honest, what's the issue? Because men have been complaining for the past couple years that they don't want women with high body counts. They don't want women who sleep around. They don't want women just being too active, too out there. Fair and fine. So the 4B movement says no. Do you get what I mean? No hanky-panky. Okay, that's one issue solved. Men have been complaining about single moms. They've been complaining it's women's fault that they're single moms, that children do not have fathers. It's their fault that, there aren't enough active fathers raising their kids. Sorry for the noise. Someone's doing construction next door. Okay, so the 4B movement solved that and said, okay, we're not going to have kids. Men have also been complaining that women always leave. They always leave relationships. They always leave in divorces. And when they divorce a man, they take all of their assets. And that's a big issue. Women have decided in the 4B movement, okay, we're not going to get married. They also decided, men have complained about dating women, this, that, and the other, issues with women. I need to emphasize, most of these complaints are to black women. I'm just going to emphasize that, okay? So the 4B movement has said, okay, you know what? We'll leave you alone. We'll leave your money alone. We won't date you. You won't have to spend a dime on us because we're not going to date you. And we won't marry you. So they said no kids, no hanky-panky, no marriage, and no heterosexual relationships. All I'm going to say is, you can never please men. Now you got the same dudes complaining, and you got women complaining as well. But women who aren't part of the movement, why are you complaining? Because there's more men for you now. All the pick-me's, why are you complaining? There's more men for you. Men, why are you complaining? Because the women that you wanted to go away have gone away now. Why are you not happy? This is a celebration. This is a celebration. Me personally, I'm not going to join the movement myself. But I hear it. I understand it. I get it. I have my own personal reasons for not joining the movement. It's a little bit too late for me to join the movement. I'm not going to say on here because, trust me, TikTok will use any type of information as character assassination and just to assassinate you. So I'm never going to go too deep into my personal life on TikTok. I trusted TikTok with literally the smallest amount of information one time, the smallest amount of vulnerability. I got slaughtered. So I'm not making that mistake again. I don't understand what the issue is. Like, even majority of the complaints, like complaining about a certain type of woman, it can all be easily fixed if you don't focus on that type of woman, and you just don't go for that type of woman, and you go for a type of woman who's different. And the same way that these type of men like to say, oh, not all men are the same, not all women are the same. There are like decent women who will probably go with your ideologies. I mean, your standard of decent anyway, because me and you, we got two different standards of decent. So what's the issue? The problem is this certain group of men, you know what type of men I'm talking about, kind of rhymes with cred deal. They want control. They don't really care about what's it called, women being better, men being better, this being better, this, that, and the other. They don't really care about all that. It's just literally about control, because women are taking their advice, listening to them, and being like, oh, okay, so if this is the issue, we'll fix it, we'll step out of the way, we won't be an issue to you anymore, and you're still not happy. So I think it's about most people wanting a certain group of people to live by their standards and their beliefs. Kind of sounds like fascism. I thought we were over that, but I guess we're not. One more thing that I want to add to the whole 4B movement thing. There's no promotion of violence. It's not by force that all women join it. Also, there's no, like, from what I've seen anyway, there's no like, oh, we hate men, that's why we're doing this. It's mostly just like, okay, for the longest, a certain group of men have been telling women to take accountability, so they did. A group of women said, you know what, let's take accountability. You know what, all the crime, all the violence, all the this, all the that that's happening to us, let's do something about it. Since apparently it's our fault. I don't believe in that, by the way. Like, I need to make her, I honestly hope that my satire is coming across very, very clearly in this entire video. I don't really agree with any of the views that I'm saying in regards to what these men think. So there's been complaints about women's behaviour, this, that and the other. They need to take accountability. So they did. They took everything into their own hands. They're not asking men to protect them. They're saying, we're going to do these 4 things to protect ourselves. What's the issue? They're not getting men involved anymore. They're not asking you to change your behaviour anymore. That's gone away now. They're changing their own behaviour and their own actions, which benefits you, according to all the things that you are saying are wrong with women in the Western world and in the society. This originated in Korea, by the way, if you don't know much about the 4B movement. Originated in Korea. From what I understand, it's because of like unaliving rates with women in Korea. So women in Korea took things into their own hands. And the Western world is now adopting the movement. And I just think, what's the issue? Literally, what's the issue? They're not bothering men. They're literally just doing something for themselves, taking accountability for themselves, protecting themselves. They're not relying on men. They're not, like, it's got nothing to do with you, but you have a problem with it. This is why I'm saying it. You, like, these groups of men, like, you're giving fascism vibes, because women can't win. Women decide, okay, we'll stop sleeping with you, we'll stop dating you, we'll stop marrying you, we'll stop having kids with you, so that you do not have to have all of these issues that you claim that you have with us, and so that violence, this, that and the other doesn't occur anymore. You're still not happy. At a certain point, lads, it's a you problem. There's nothing that women can do, especially black women, women of colour, but especially black women. There is nothing that we can do that will make you hate us less. There isn't. And that's what I'm beginning to realize, which is sad.
There's a lot of people talking shit about the 4B movement and how women are opting out of dating and marriage. We don't want to opt out of dating and marriage, but
Hi. Nope, just sitting here.
my life partner just made me dinner. Why would I go on a date and fake the funk and actually look nice for you when, look at that.
You're gonna laugh, but
And I didn't have to give her shit. I just exist. And she just handed me the plate. That's why the 4B movement exists.
I don't know what's so funny about this fake 4B outrage from the men is that anytime a woman expresses her terrible experiences with a man, then it's always, you should have picked better. So now we're not picking at all, and you motherfuckers got a problem with that. Then don't let us talk about our deadbeat ass baby daddies. Then it's, you should have kept your fucking legs closed. So now we choosing not to fuck y'all at all. Y'all still got a problem with that. Then it's always, y'all bitches asking for too much. Y'all some gold diggers. Y'all want us for our money. Now we not asking y'all for a fucking thing. Absolutely nothing. Just leave us the fuck alone. And y'all got a problem with that. Then when women start talking about how they want a ring, they want to get married, then it's a ring shouldn't, determine how much I love you. And a marriage is just a piece of paper. We don't have to do that. So now that bitches don't even give a fuck to get married no more. Y'all got a problem with that. Women get blamed for being the single mothers who actually stay with the kids while the men go out and create 7 more single parent homes. And now y'all mad because we don't want to have no more kids at all. And if we don't have no kids right now, we not ever gonna have none until y'all get y'all shit together. So instead of empathizing with us when we talk about these terrible experiences with these men, y'all blame us for how men treat us and how they act. It's always, you should have picked better, instead of holding your fellow man accountable for their actions or apologizing on their behalf. We're gonna do better, queen. But no, y'all always place the blame on us. And now that we done found a fucking solution to the problem, since y'all ain't gonna fix it, we'll fix it. We're just gonna leave y'all the fuck alone. And y'all do whatever the fuck y'all wanna do without us. But let me not. Cause it's gonna be some pick-me ass bitches that's gonna still remain, out in the open for y'all to grab them and pick them. But I guarantee you it's gonna be bitches that y'all don't even want to have shit to do with. Y'all not gonna be attracted to them hoes at all. So good luck. Good luck with them hoes and your homeboys. Cause y'all, like I said, y'all made this bed lay in it. What the fuck is y'all mad for? And y'all can think this shit cap if y'all want to. This 4B movement came from South Korea. The South Korea bitches stood so hard on business that they don't even have first grade classes to enroll this year in several different schools. They don't even have enough children to put in a first grade class because them bitches said, nah, y'all want to act like y'all fucking stupid? You're not going to have no legacy to leave behind. So good fucking luck. Good luck.
4B movement is a victory for us because we told them we don't want no old single mothers. They hit the wall. They're over 30. They had children before they got married, and they got a high body count. They're doing us a favor.
I don't care how many men make videos like this, act like they don't care that women don't want to marry them or have their children. We're all very well aware that there is a single male loneliness epidemic going on right now. There's not a single women loneliness problem. The 4B movement is about decentering men, and here they are doing what they always do, and that's putting themselves in the center of somebody else's movement. They have been trying their hardest to co-opt any movement that women get. We say we want a soft life, here they are talking about they're in their soft guy era. We say sprinkle, sprinkle, now they're talking about drizzle, drizzle. Like every time we make a movement, point, they try to mirror us. How are you the leader when we're always following us? I guess we must be the leaders. I think the men are becoming afraid because they're realizing a woman's power. When they see these decreasing rates of marriage and childbirth, they're realizing that it's the women who have decided to make it that way. So they've always come up with some kind of scare tactic, some kind of manipulation, but the latest tactic is to act like it was their idea. We actually like this, right, fellas? We wink wink. Yeah, we this is what we want too. No, this isn't what you want, but it is what you're going to get. The manipulation and scare tactics aren't working, and they never will. You're going to have to do the one thing you have been avoiding the whole time, and that is change and become a better man if you ever want to be with any one of these women. No one is settling for you anymore.
Germany, US, birth rates are still declining. What can we do? Maybe we make it free to give birth? Okay, yeah. No. We could give monthly parental support checks. Oh, yeah, sure. We could make daycare affordable. Okay. Offer parental leave? Yeah, sure, okay. Well, we could offer poor sex education. There you go. No. We could outlaw abortion and forced birth. What the fuck?
Men have been literally exposing themselves of being the biggest fucking pick-me's on the planet. It's disgusting. And women, we've come together. We do not want y'all. Now men want to be like, oh, really? Well, we're going to do the 4G movement. Ha! We didn't want you guys first. How old are y'all? This is the exact birth control we needed. What makes you think we'd want to even settle down with y'all and then have kids with your genes, with that brain that you got? And do not get me started on the women who are actually agreeing with these men, these women who are kikiing with these men. Y'all are pick-me's too, and it's disgusting. We can see the extreme dynamic power difference between men and women, and we want to dismantle it. And for you to sit on the screen and agree with these dudes who are making comments, you're like, girl, please get out of here. Like, pick me energy, agreeing with a dude who's talking down about the 4B movement as a woman. To me, that's just ugly. Like, that's an ugly spirit. That just shows me you don't care about women. You don't even care about yourself.
Seriously, I have an honest question. Did all of us become celibate like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago? I did. A year and a half ago. Like, I don't even care. Just give it 6 months and you're just like, what? Oh, ew. And then, like, yeah, your health is much better. Your sleep is much better. Your life is much more peaceful. So who's already been doing the 4B movement? Well, yeah, I haven't dated at all. My life this has been the best year of my life. Like, in terms of just working on myself and my career, like, holy shit. I was thinking about that in bed last night. I was like, what was the worst time of my life and the best time of my life? I've had some very hard things happen, but as far as happiness, this is the happiest I've ever been. So anyways, the 4B stand for basically no sleeping with men. No dating them, no marrying them, no sleeping with them, no making babies with them. Who's down? Also, I'm thinking like something like we need to build a commune in the forest so that we can frolic around and do whatever the hell.
So, ladies, I keep hearing a lot of men say, what about kids? How are we going to have kids and families? And how are we going to continue the human race? Even a lot of women are saying that because a lot of women still care about that stuff. But if you're talking about joining the 4B movement, you're past all of that. You don't care about all of that. You're over all of that. You actually want the human race to die out, and if it's not going to change, that's not our concern. Like, that's not our concern. I don't know if y'all have heard of parthenogenesis or whatever, however you say it. Y'all know what I'm saying. Parthenogenesis. If I'm saying it wrong, correct me in the bottom. But yeah, I've been looking into it, and I really, really believe that men know that we are capable of it. If y'all don't know what it means, I'm going to show you a video in a minute. But I really believe that our diets, our food, all of the sickness, all of the environmental things that are going on where we're not just functioning at our highest. I think our bodies are supposed to be alkaline, and that's why we're supposed to eat a lot of alkaline fruits and vegetables. And that is one of the reasons why they are making GMO food. They're making foods in labs. They're burning down all of the farm. If y'all haven't looked into it, Bill Gates I think it was like a couple years ago, he was like trying to pay people to get rid of their land, and they were burning down farmland and just all kind of stuff. And I think this is because women actually can, I know a lot of y'all think it's crazy, women can actually, if we go back to our natural original state, we can birth children on our own. And once again, I know that Akon is saying stuff like what he said, they can shoot their sperm into a dish or something and they can have kids without us. They carry babies in their nutsack, I guess. But I don't think that's true. Scientifically, it's animals that have been able to have kids without a male. And I think even the story about Mary getting pregnant without a man, I really believe that this was how it used to be. And we're just going to look at these few videos and then I'll be back after these.
Were able to give birth without males. This process is called parthenogenesis, and it happens because of her Bartholin glands. The Bartholin glands are located on each side of the vagina, and it secretes a lubricating mucus which is equivalent to the male secretions, and the female fertilizes the egg herself. So females existed before men because every human being are made up of cells. Within the nucleus of the cell, the mitochondria is found, and this mitochondria gives energy to all cells. It also keeps records of all things. The mitochondria is only inherited from the female, and if a female fails to have a daughter, all of her genes disappear because the mitochondria keeps records for all family generations, and it's only inherited from the mother to her daughter. So without the mitochondria, there would be no cells because the cells get all the energy from the mitochondria. And if there's no energy, the cells wouldn't be able to form tissues, organs, and a body. So without a female, men would not exist. He comes from she. Male comes from female. God comes from goddess. When we manifested on the physical, everything came through a womb, the physical creator, the woman.
According to those who have knowledge of the old way of birth, parthenogenesis occurs when a woman is in a state of superior alkaline health, lives very close to the laws of nature, and enters a state of physio-spiritual bliss. In other words, a woman must be fully aligned in her natural state and completely healthy and happy in order to achieve parthenogenesis. In humans, it is theorized that the babies that result from parthenogenesis are always female and always uniquely gifted leaders, geniuses, visionaries, and healers. The one caveat to this theory is that human males are said to have arisen from this method as well. Figures such as Jesus, Buddha, Plato, and Leonardo da Vinci. There are some evolutionary benefits to parthenogenesis. For example, in the absence of males, the human race could theoretically continue. And if what is said of the children of parthenogenesis is true, society would benefit greatly from the presence of enlightened minds resulting from parthenogenic birth. So what happened to stop this? This is a big question on my mind and one I don't really have an answer for. Based on my research, my best guess is it ended because the environment itself became too toxic. The food, water, air, and relationships between people became energetically too toxic for women to naturally bring about parthenogenic birth. Personally, I believe it's still possible, and I believe it's still happening today. When I first discovered this concept, there was a website called The Experience Project, where people shared stories about different things that had happened in their lives. I remember reading stories about parthenogenesis from women who would say things like, "Still to this day, I have no idea where this little girl came from." Either they were single at the time or with a man, but not engaged in sexual relations with that man, and yet still fell pregnant. Modern society would never believe such a thing, of course. The woman must always be the wayward philanderer, falling pregnant by every man she meets. But what if the women who swear they never cheated, or the women who swear they were with no one yet fell pregnant, are actually telling the truth? What if there are more stories like these that women keep to themselves because they know no one will believe them? I'm not sure, but this topic brings up more questions for me than it answers. I think it's fascinating and I think it's true. Perhaps this is why women historically have been oppressed, to ensure they never spontaneously reproduce.
So, ladies, this seems like unreal, but as someone who believes in unicorns and mermaids, I'm going to have to say that I truly believe that we can get back here. I think we should, as a collective of women, I think we should look into this. We should study this. I see women are starting to go vegan and go back alkaline because I think something in us just tells us that our bodies are out of alignment. And so I wasn't going to play any of the men's responses, but I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys some of the men who are being honest about this. I'm going to show their responses because I don't want to show the men who are gaslighting or just scared or just playing out evil. I'm going to show some of the guys who have a little bit of common sense. So I'll be right back.
So the alpha fairy males are getting desperate at this point as they have created a new movement in response to the woman's 4B movement. They have created the 4G movement. And this is them saying no to sex, no to time, no to provision, and no to babies. But here's the kicker. Y'all were already saying no to just about everything on this list. The only thing y'all were in fact saying yes to is sex. But you would not give a woman your time unless you were getting sex in return. You would not provide unless you were getting sex in return. And men aren't taking care of their babies. So basically, you're telling men to do exactly what they've already been doing. So what exactly is the point of this movement other than to attempt to punish women for not accepting your mediocrity? Furthermore, I could have sworn that among the premises of the alpha male movement was to encourage men not to match the energy of women, but to in fact lead. But of course, here we are, finding men matching the energy of women. And instead of actually growing and evolving and leading as a good man should, you would much rather just join in on the fight? I don't fucking know. But the thing is that this isn't 1920 anymore. Women aren't obligated to bend to your will. They're not obligated to bear your children. They're not obligated to accept you in their lives. They have that choice. And you will never be able to take that away from them, no matter how many 4Gs I don't care if you guys created a 5G movement. It won't matter. This is why women are leaving men alone.
Oh, I'd like to be a little bit critical of men here in the way they've been responding to the 4B movement. The 4B movement may seem like a threat, but what men are being invited to do is to rise. But men lack a great deal of common sense in this area. What do I mean by common sense? I mean the world that we share in common with other people through our 5 senses. I believe that you believe that water rolls downhill. I believe that because it's common sense. We can sense it. Do you know any women? Haven't you ever heard them talk? You know, my mother, her first son, her husband abandoned her and left her with nothing. She had to endure that. That is not an uncommon story. What men are doing and what they're being taught to do by innumerable relationship coaches is to respond to their beliefs, not to women. Their assumptions, their expectations. If you started from a different assumption, you would end up at a different result. You only really meet real women. But the thing is, you're not meeting them. You see the woman and you meet what you think about them. You're going through your mind and not recognizing that this is what you think about them. You think that's them. And it can be terribly wrong.
I wanted to wait a little bit to make this video because I wanted the oppressors to show themselves. And they definitely have. So here we go. Let's hop into it. So if you don't know what it means to be oppressed or to be an oppressor, let me explain. So by definition, an oppressor is somebody who uses their power and authority to control or mistreat a group of individuals. The oppressors typically treat people badly because they feel like they're better or they're more important. So therefore, they should be able to treat people the way they want to treat them and not have any repercussions behind it. And by proxy, the oppressed are the ones on the other end who are experiencing the inequality as well as the unjust behavior of the oppressors. We've seen this behavior happen in real time when it comes to Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ plus community. So eventually the oppressed get tired of being oppressed and they want to speak out and they want things to change. And they either choose a violent method or a non-violent method to fight back against the oppressors. So let's take Black Lives Matter for an example. The Black Lives Matter movement started because Black people are being oppressed. Black people just want to be treated equally. Equal rights. Be treated the same as everybody else. What does the oppressors do? Nah, Black people don't deserve special rights. They don't deserve to be treated equally. Matter of fact, all lives matter. LGBTQ plus experiencing discrimination, so they decide to protest. And guess what? The oppressors go, nah, they don't deserve special treatment. Why do they deserve special treatment? You know what? Forget it. LGBTQ plus, you don't deserve anything. Now we have the 4B movement. Now we have women finally standing up for themselves and speaking up and speaking out against the bullshit that they've been experiencing for centuries. Centuries. It is to the point now that women realize that they don't need men, and I love that for them. But guess what? Anytime there's an oppressed group, there are oppressors. And these oppressors are misogynistic men who can't understand and fathom why a woman doesn't need them. They can't fathom why a woman doesn't want to be with a man who's going to mistreat them and use them and abuse them. They can't understand why women don't feel safe walking down the street at night. They can't understand why women don't have equal pay and women aren't in spaces where they should be because they're highly qualified to, but just because they're not a man, they're not qualified to. Men cannot fathom that women can do the same thing that they can. And it shows when these same men get on the internet and talk about a man's soft life era. Men should get their haircuts paid for. Men should get treated the same way women get treated because they cannot fathom the thought of women wanting more, women wanting things to change, women wanting things to be different. The only men who have a problem with the 4B movement are the same men who are the reason as to why the 4B movement became to be. I am a firm believer that women don't need men, but men need women. Because who else is going to cook and clean for them? Who else is going to give them milky when they don't feel good? Who else is going to do the laundry and mother these men who can't do things for themselves? And for the men who want to argue and say, well, I pay all the bills, guess what? Women can make their own money now. Women can also cook and clean for themselves, and they are very self-efficient. But you know who isn't? The men who need women. And I've been saying for years that I firmly believe that women should run the world. Women should be in charge. And for the people who say, well, women are too emotional to run the country, have you seen the men? Have you seen the men? We are literally at war because men can't get along.
Shocking news in the past 24 hours is yesterday, Iran warned the United States will not be spared if this war in Gaza continues. And this comes as I let you know that tensions have been escalating between the United States and Iran. There have been attacks taking place, all centered around the Israel and Hamas war. But what is very, very bold about this statement is take a look. It actually took place at the UN in the United States. The foreign minister for Iran stood before all of the UN on American soil and told the United States, you will not be spared if this war continues. Take a look at the video footage so you can see it for yourself.
I say frankly to the American statesmen who are now managing the genocide in Palestine that we do not welcome to expansion of the war in the region. But I warn, if the genocide in Gaza continues, they will not be spared from this fire.
Because their egos are in the way. Because they can't see the bigger picture. Because you're lacking sympathy and empathy for other individuals who are also involved in the situation. But you know who isn't lacking sympathy and empathy? Women. And for the men who are doing a great job loving women and respecting women and taking care of women, you are appreciated.
It's absolutely hilarious to me to see men in this country losing their collective shit over the 4B movement. For those of you that don't know what it is, the movement started in South Korea, a society that is very misogynistic. The 4Bs refer to 4 words in Korean, which I'm not going to pronounce, but I will put right here and tell you what they mean. No hetero marriage, no childbirth, no dating men, and no hetero relationships. The women in South Korea are fighting back against a society that treats them horribly. And many in the US now are starting to take up that movement as well. And you know what? I'm all for it. Because the fact is, women have been fighting for centuries to be treated with the same level of respect and dignity that men are. And even though they have more rights than they used to have 70 years ago, there are far too many men in this country that think women shouldn't be able to vote or work or own a house. That the only purpose of women in our society is to take care of the house and have children. It's absolutely ridiculous that women are still fighting against this level of misogyny in 2024. It's sad that for all men's statements of protecting women, it's actually more about controlling them. It's time for society to change. And if women need to take on the 4B movement in America to do it, you have my support.
Hey, I want to talk quickly about this 4B movement that's going on. And it's kind of interesting. Started over in South Korea, and there's a lot of misogyny in South Korea. And basically the women just got tired of it. So they said, here's the thing, we're not going to do it. So they started this 4B movement, and it's basically women saying, we're not going to date men, we're not going to marry men, we're not going to sleep with men, and there's something else, I'm not sure, but in the Korean language, those all start with B, the letter B. So that's how the 4B movement came around. Basically, women just got fed up, and I get it. I totally agree. But then you turn around and the men start what's called the 4G movement, which is basically the men's version of the 4B movement. And it's like the men are trying to retaliate. And that's a mentality I just don't get. I don't get if the women come up with this 4B movement and they say they're not going to do these things with men because of misogyny, shouldn't that be eye-opening? Shouldn't that be okay? Maybe I need to reflect. Instead of getting defensive like we always do, maybe we need to reflect a little bit and say, what did I have to do with this? Did I make women feel this way? Did I treat them that way? Do I treat my wife that way? Do I treat my people at the office that way? How come we never stop and think? We just automatically get defensive. If there's a 4B movement in America, which there is, I hope there is at least, then men should not be getting defensive, in my opinion. Men should be saying, what did I do to bring this on? Did I have something to do with it? Did I do something to make the women in my life feel this way? And if I did, I'm sorry. And I need to correct that. It kind of reminds me of the Colin Kaepernick situation years ago back in the NFL. Remember when he knelt down during the national anthem? Oh my gosh, everybody just freaked out. So much so that they just grabbed up their arms and they were ready to go to battle. Very few people says, why did you do that? Just explain it to us. And then when he tried to explain after the game, it's almost like people didn't even listen to him. He had a cause that he felt passionate about. And I agree with him. And he had to get someone's attention. And he did. But did we actually address the cause? No. We were so concerned about what he did, we got so offended, we picked up our arms and we went to battle with him instead of saying, I get it. I understand what you're saying. Let's address that. What people need to understand is, if it's important to you, it needs to be important to me. If it was important to Colin Kaepernick, it needs to be important to me. If it's important to the women of South Korea and America, it's important to me. That's all there is to it. I'm not putting myself above anybody else, saying they're my property and they need to do as I say. No. We always grab our pitchforks and our firearms and we head to battle before we even really know what we're fighting against. I just don't get that mentality. It just makes no sense. And honestly, about the 4B movement, once Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court, that's when I thought, now's the time for a movement. Because quite honestly, if I was a woman and they overturned Roe v. Wade, I'd say, here's the thing. You're not getting sex until this is overturned. until this is brought back into the law. I would start moving for women. Just stop having sex. Okay? Just stop it. You have the power there. And I would support them all 100%. But here's the thing. For the ladies of the 4B movement, I just want you to know, I support you 100%. I'm not angry at all. I am frustrated with possibly myself and other men for making you feel that way. And I absolutely apologize for anything I might have had to do with this. And if I had something to do with it, with the women in my life, I apologize. And I will sincerely work on myself to make sure you never feel that way. Because the women in my life, I want them to know they are queens.
So the people who are upset at the men pointing out some of the flaws with the 4B movement, I'm going to need, and again, this sounds crazy coming from a cisgender male, some of you women in the 4B movement to pay attention to what is being said by some of them. Yes, some of the men, typically the same red pillars, are saying, we don't give a fuck, we still gonna get you. The people who support you are saying, those red pill men don't give a fuck, they're still gonna get you by force. So what the non-red pill men are saying, the men who get the movement, the men who get what you're trying to do, are saying, we support the movement, we're going to be here for you for the movement, but in the events that the people who support your movement aren't around, get yourself 4 Berettas. Just lock and load, okay? Because there will be physical and emotional and mental responses to what you guys are doing. I'm not saying those responses are okay. We're going to do what we can to help you deflect from them. But it's going to happen. So stop getting mad at us saying...
Every woman needs a man to protect her from strange men who mean to do her harm. And every woman needs a second man to protect her from the first man in case he means to do her harm. And every woman needs a third man to protect her from the first 2 men in case they team up and mean to do her harm. And every woman needs a 4th, 5th, and 6th men to form an alliance in case the first 3 men form an alliance against her and mean to do her harm. And every woman needs a 7th man with a flamethrower to oppose the first 6 men in case they form an alliance and mean to do her harm. And every woman needs an 8th man to coordinate the feeding schedules and hygiene and bathroom schedules of the first 7 men. And every woman needs a fundamental shift in the cultural perception of masculinity so that the first 8 men are not necessary.
Do I agree with the 4B movement in theory? Yes. But do I have a problem with the 4B movement? Yes. I'm gonna run this shit back and I'm gonna make this shit very fucking plain. So TikTok, this is for educational purposes only. A Beretta is a fucking gun. I am telling you to get a fucking gun. You choosing to leave men alone don't mean that you will be left alone. So if you don't want to get a Beretta, bitch, you will be in a body bag. You really think that a man is they're just gonna stop fucking with y'all? No, you just gonna get raped and killed. This ain't motherfucking Korea, bitch. These motherfuckers ain't no soft-ass Koreans. When has a man ever listened to anything that you have ever done? Ever. Y'all supposed to be the smart ones. Y'all supposed to be the smart ones. That's the thing. Y'all thinking about this shit in a logical way. Men are emotional. Y'all trying to make the shit make sense. They're gonna do what the fuck they want to do like they always have. As a woman, you cannot keep a man from nothing that he really wants. Even if that thing is your own body. The only reason that your body is yours is because he does not want it bad enough. You remember that for the rest of your fucking life. You remember that for the rest of your fucking life. The only reason why that man has not taken your body from you is because he does not want it bad enough. If that man wants your 10-year-old daughter's body, he will take it from you. Unless you fucking get a fucking gun. That is what y'all are not seeing. So if I get one more fucking notification or one more stupid ass stick, I don't like motherfucking Dora the Explorer. Swiper, no swiping. Raper, no raping. Why the fuck do y'all think that I can get on this motherfucking app and say what the fuck I want to say and not give a fuck? Because I know how to fight in real life. I already told y'all this shit. I was not poor, but I am from the hood for real. I already told y'all this is my cousin. This is Daniel. This is who I grew up with. This is who I grew up fighting. I'm not talking about no bullshit ass pity pat shit. I'm talking about fighting. We was fighting like niggas in the street. And that motherfucker is strong. He is naturally strong. He has been strong his whole life. Even though I could whoop his brothers, I could only hang with Daniel. I always knew that I could never beat him. I know the strength that a man has when he is full of anger and rage. I know what it feels like. And I know that if I can only hang with something like that, there is absolutely fucking nothing that you could do. And Daniel thinks that y'all are just something to be owned. He will put a baby in you because you are his property. This is what y'all do not understand about the psyche of men. A man showing you that he hates you does not mean that he is gay, does not mean that he likes men. Why do you think a man cherishes his friends and values his friends and cares for his friends, but treats you like shit? Because he loves his friends. Men cannot fuck the things that they love. That takes an emotional maturity that most men do not have. Why do men conveniently only snap on the women that they fucking? They never snap on their mama. They never snap on their sister. They only snap on the women that they are fucking. The default to men is if he is attracted to you, he has the ability to mollywop you. Don't tell me I don't know what the fuck 4B is. I know what the fuck it is. But for whatever reason, you think that you can starve out somebody like this. The actual fucking court document. On July 28, 2012, a police officer was dispatched to a location and saw Daniel walking down the street trying to catch up to his girlfriend, who appeared to be in distress. She was crying and was wearing dirty, torn clothes. Officer asked Daniel what was going on. Daniel said that she fell down and she needed some help. But the girlfriend was standing behind him, shaking her head no. That's not what happened. Officer noticed that she had some swelling to her face. Her lower lip was cut open and bleeding, and her clothes were very dirty. She was crying. She was absolutely fearful for being around him. She told the officer that she was driving down the street with him and that he asked to use her phone. She said no, and he punched her in the face, then turned the car off when it was in motion, and then choked her with his arm, causing her to be unable to breathe. She's telling the motherfucking truth. 100% true, because I know that crazy motherfucker. You think that you can 4B a man whose hand, this hand right here, is strong enough to crush your fucking throat. Any man can fucking crush your throat and look at you dead in your motherfucking face as your life leaves your motherfucking body. According to her statement, she attempted to exit the vehicle, but he grabbed her by her pants and ended up pulling her back into the vehicle with such force that it ripped her underwear in 3 places. That is absolutely fucking true. He is that fucking strong. She managed to escape, but he chased her down, threw her to the ground, and punched her while she was on the ground. Now, this is the key. She told officers that she was experiencing some cramping and that she was 20 weeks pregnant with his child. Pregnant. Remember that. Pregnant. He put the baby in her on purpose. And because she didn't have the motherfucking Beretta, like I'm telling you to right fucking now, he went away for a few years, but he got out last year.
Accused of stabbing his pregnant girlfriend 47 times with a knife and scissors in May. 36-year-old Daniel Rogers Conwell Jr. faced multiple charges, including attempted murder.
10 weeks pregnant, stabbed 47 times. Because he wasn't put down in 2012, look what he did to somebody else in 2023. Unfortunately, I can't put him down because they're never in the act of committing a crime with me, but they will be in the act of committing a crime with you. So pay attention when somebody tell you to get a fucking gun. You can't talk your way out of everything.
Okay, ladies, so regarding the last 2 men who were telling women that this is going to be very dangerous for us and that men are going to just be taking it, they're already doing that, but it's going to happen more. And this is why I've seen some videos of Korean women coming out saying that y'all are jumping on something in Korea that's not even that big. A lot of Korean women don't even know about the 4B movement. It's only small pockets of women in Korea. I don't believe that. If you look at the birth rates over there in Korea and the age of the children over there, they have nearly made their population, their male population and the child population go extinct. These women have done it. I think they've been doing it for like not even 3 or 4 years, and their birth rates have dropped drastically. They're over there panicking. So I don't believe that. What I think the difference is I think the Korean women, they cannot carry weapons. They cannot protect themselves like we can over here in America. So they're being more quiet about it. They're just not speaking out like we are about the 4B movement, because American women have always been more outspoken in that way, you know, and we've not always been able to carry firearms, but most of us can carry weapons now, not just guns, but any kind of weapon we want to carry. So, but I really suggest that y'all listen to these last few men, because they are men and they know how other men are. They have friends, they have family. They know how strong men are, and they know how men are when they're not getting women. They get worse. So I really suggest that some of y'all simmer down. If anybody asks you in your everyday life, have you ever heard of the 4B movement, or do you know what the 4B movement is? I would just act like I don't know what it is, because y'all don't know that y'all's lives are in danger. And like many people are saying, I don't think a lot of women are going to join this movement. I know they're not. I see them talking because they haven't had enough yet. They will eventually, but they haven't joined it yet. And I don't even think a lot of women need to join. I think if at least 30 to 40% of the population would join this movement, or could join this movement, it could make a huge difference. You will start seeing changes in the laws that don't care about when women have children. You will start seeing prices in daycare drop. You'll start seeing them helping mothers more, because a lot of women are not just doing this because they're tired of men. A lot of women are doing this because they can't even afford to have kids. They can barely afford for themselves to survive in this economy that men created, the patriarchy created. So it's not just about not wanting to get married. Well, yeah, it's about a lot of stuff. You can't even afford kids. That's crazy. But they want to change laws to force you to stay married, Project 2025, or they're going to take your kids if you're a single mother. So women who don't have kids or have not thought about getting married, y'all should pay attention to Project 2025, the abortion laws. They don't want women to abort. I'm not for abortion. I'm more for just getting away from them altogether. But if you got to have an abortion, I'm not going to shame you, because some of these men are out here impregnating women purposely. Like the guy from Fresh and Fit. He did that purposely, and then when she got pregnant, he wants to act like he doesn't know how she got pregnant.
I want the baby because I don't want to kill the baby. I don't want to kill nobody. I don't want to.
You're not. They just give you a pill and then it's over.
No. I'm pregnant.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The pill, they just give it to you from a doctor and then you're good.
I am pregnant. I can't pretending like nothing happened. I can't. In my religion, we don't kill.
You're not killing. Okay.
I want to keep the baby.
Okay. Well, like I said, I just don't want any kids. You know?
Okay, so what you gonna do? And what you gonna do to me?
Nothing. Well, why did I do anything to you?
Nothing?
Why did I do anything to you?
No, I know. So, like, how are you gonna deal with this? By saying I don't want a baby? That's all?
I mean, I could go to the doctor, I guess.
To the doctor? So you want abortion?
I mean, yeah. Why do you want a kid now?
And why do you make me pregnant now?
That's I'm like, there's no way that's true. But then I said, oh wow, like.
So just think about it. It's meant to be. God wants you to have the baby.
Definitely not.
It is. God wants you to have a baby. 7 years never happened, and then you're fucking me for a month, and I'm pregnant. What does that mean?
Well,
now I just think about it, if you force me to kill the baby, then you're a sin.
Well, we already sinned by having sex, but it's too late now. You know.
He said on the tape, you kept nutting inside of me. You just kept doing it. He knew she wasn't on birth control. They'll do that and then act like they didn't know how babies were made. So yeah, I interrupted just to make commentary on these last two videos, but I have a few more videos, ladies, and then I'll be back after these.
Some terrible things over the years in an attempt to be necessary. We all know that we need women in order for society to function. Y chromosomal data shows us that at one point in human history, there were about 17 women to to every one man. And clearly humankind did not die out. But what would happen if we had 17 men to every one woman? Reproduction rates would be pretty low, and the chances of that one woman surviving long enough to reproduce are unfortunately not great. Men just don't have a good track record for being safe for women. So it is well established that women are necessary for the survival of our species and for society to function. But that begs the question, are men necessary? How necessary are men? And that has made men feel very self-conscious. Are we needed? And that has made men for a long time want to make claims about what men can do that women can't do. Men have a tendency to be better at violence than women. So we have to have some reason that society needs violence. Men are so good at violence that women are in danger, so we need other violent men to protect them. For men to be necessary, we need violence, we need danger, and we need wars. Historically, it has been the belief that we need men to fight in all of the wars. But in reality, men have needed wars to be necessary more than wars have needed men. Recently, there was the creator on this app that said, how hard could it be? Boys do it. And we saw these men on oil rigs saying, look at these manly men. Can women do that? Well, yes, women can do that. But I would say that the entire Industrial Revolution was an attempt by men to be necessary. It was a need to create male-dominated industries and then have a society structured to depend on those industries. Oil rigs exist because of our dependency on fossil fuels. We built societies where we live far away from where we work so that we depend on those fossil fuels to get to our place of work. We would be better off without the oil rigs. We would be better off without this dependency on fossil fuels. Here in the United States, most of us don't live in walkable communities because of that dependency, because of that industry creating a society that has a problem that they are the solution to. This has been the way of men for generations. Create a problem and then be the solution. For us to have a better society, men have to be okay with the fact that we're not needed. My wife does not need me. She has a good job. She makes enough money that she could hire people to do all the things she doesn't know how to do. She has a strong group of friends, a good support system. She doesn't need me, but she wants me in her life. She wants to do life with me. Men have worked so hard to try to force society to need us that we've completely neglected any attempts at being what society wants. We're trying to create scenarios where women need us instead of being people that are desired. So when you see all these men that are dating coaches and whatever they are, telling other men how to interact with the world, how to interact with women, ask yourself, are they trying to connect with the world around them and improve the world around them, or are they trying to manipulate the world around them to create a dependency on them? Are they trying to do life with the people around them, or are they trying to create a problem for the people around them that they are the solution to? Is their message coming out of their insecurities about not being needed? Or have they discovered a space that they really are connected in and they feel wanted and desired? And they want to share with others what it's like to find that space. Because we have got to stop destroying the world because we don't feel needed.
You want to know why men respect other men? Because they scared of them. Ladies, these men keep playing with y'all because you ain't did nothing to him. Mace his ass to the floor. I'm talking about pepper spray, season his motherfucking eyes. And if that don't work, put some fire up on him. Get you some electrical. No, I'm not talking about no gun. Don't shoot him now because you're going to jail. But zap him a little bit. Let him know who the motherfucking boss around here. That what you...
Okay, ladies, so at the beginning of the video, I showed you a world without men, if the world just had women, and it looked really, really blissful, and it looked like heaven. I would really love to see us get together and start building this someday soon, within the next 5 years or so, because I will be ready to retire by the time I'm 50. But I want to show you this last video of what the world would look like without women, so we can get into this.
World without women, day one. Show me a world without women, day 10. Show me a world without women, day 30. Show me a world without women, day 365. Show me a world without women, day 1000.
So pretty much the world would probably just go extinct and end without women, because we birth nations. Without women, these nations would fall. And I think women are collectively realizing that we birth all the nations that oppress us worldwide, from India to China to Japan to Korea to Russia to Ukraine to Jamaica to all of the black countries, Africa. Everywhere you look, women are being treated like slaves, women are being abused, women are being raped, women are being unalived, and we created that. And these videos show our power. The first video I showed y'all, it shows our power. And at the end of that video, I don't know if y'all noticed, but it was still women. I didn't know if it was any children, but it was still quite a bit of women walking around like 1,000 years later. And on the one I just showed you of the men, nobody was walking around. They probably weren't taking care of themselves. They were probably unaliving each other. They couldn't procreate by themselves. They couldn't probably eat healthy or work out. They probably were scared of each other and robbing and stealing and just doing what they do. And I really believe that if women separated from them in any way that we can, that's whether that be buying homes together in neighborhoods in Costa Rica or any other country that you think is safe for women to travel to and to be in, I think collectively we have the funds to do that, to start. I really wish we would start talking about starting to build communities and spaces in different states and even countries for women to go to, because we're talking about this movement and it's picking up. But like I said, it's going to be a lot of people who can't come, and they're going to be surprised that they can't come because we're watching y'all. We see y'all on these podcasts still arguing and fussing with people, and just that's not 4B. That's not 4B. I'm hearing people talk about we could do 4C and 4 what is it? 2B and 3A and stuff like that. Like, you don't have to do all 4 of them. You can date men and you can still sleep with them, but you don't have to do the all 4 of them. No, if you're not going to do all 4 of them, you can't be in it. I don't care what nobody says. And if you're still just trying to do a few of them, just wait until you're ready. You're not ready just yet. You're going to bring that in and try to join, and you're going to mess everything up. I'm not even part of it, but I'm just observing what I see. I'm not a part of it, but I know if I was, this would be a no-go for me. And I know a lot of women are talking about transgenders are getting upset because they want to be in it. And I know some of y'all are okay with that, but I don't think a majority of women are. And I don't want that. To me, I already see the division being brought in by males. Like, we're already not going to let the pygmies and the mammies in, but then you got to deal with these males trying to force their way in. They can make a transgender 4B movement. If the women could make a Western 4B movement, why can't they make like a whole transgender 4B movement where they want to separate and get away from men also? I'm fine with that. I am absolutely fine with that. But ladies, as you could probably hear in my voice, I'm very, very tired. I've been at work. I'm sitting in the tub right now. But I'm going to get out of here, and I want you ladies to get in the comments and tell me what you think about this video. Please comment, ladies, because that helps my channel be seen and to get pushed into the algorithm, especially if you like and subscribe and share. That really helps the channel grow. It's free. I'm not asking you for any money. All I'm asking you to do is share, like, comment, because I need more engagement from you ladies to see if you like the type of content that I'm putting out, if I need to switch anything up, because I'm making these videos for you and I want to cater to my audience. I'm not going to change who I am, but if there's anything you want me to do different, or if you would like to see, just let me know. I don't plan on going live anytime soon and having call-in shows, because right now I'm just doing my videos on iMovie and they don't have that many features, and I'm okay with that because I'm really busy. So with iMovie, I can just record my videos in sections and not have to do it all at once, and I can just post them 3 or 4 days later. So guys, thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.